Salute, salute. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I am hoping and I am claiming that everybody is having a great day today, a productive day, a day that has been beautiful outside, full of sunshine. The weather's been nice. A lot to be grateful for, right? A lot to be grateful. And even if we're not grateful, we should be. You woke up, you got 10 toes down this morning. You were able to maneuver if you have good health. God bless you. You have a lot to be grateful for, right? So salute to everybody coming into the chat. We got, hey, Miss 504. Good to see you, mamacitas. We got Kimar in the building. Hey, Miss Kim. We got Genesis 1 on. She's always on task, on the money, on time. Appreciate you. Yes, we got Celia Binya. I love that name. Peace and blessings to you. Mel W is in the house. Thank you for being here. We got Sassy 81. Julia Graham. Hey, Jaga. Julia, thank you for being here. Hey, Andre. Nice to see you as always. Hope you've had a great day as well. Blessed. Philly 2K is in the house. Yes. Hey, Alexandra. All of my beautiful women in the chat and my handsome men. I love my handsome men. I love using the word men and women. Everybody doesn't deserve that title. It's, in my opinion, very, very cavalierly and loosely thrown around, especially in the times we living in, right? Just my opinion. Don't have to mean much to anybody else. Just how I'm feeling right now. So greetings and blessings to everybody. So we have an interesting topic today. I was kind of thrown aback. I was kind of in disbelief a little bit because what comes to mind is, man, how far we have fallen from grace, right? How just things are changing, have changed for so long. We were very comfortable and complacent. A lot of us we bought into this American dream, feeling like and many of us still do, not sidestepping or minimizing anybody's, state of mind when it comes to living in this country. But I will say a lot of us have felt that we, live in the best country in the world until you ask somebody that's kind of been here and been through some things, right? Just kind of brings to the forefront in the realistic vision and picture that, at the end of the day, I don't care where you live, we all have our issues, we all have our troubles, we all have our challenges, we all have our ups and downs. And the Bible says so. The Bible says, we're going to anticipate troubles. What is the need for faith if we're not tested, right? So the topic of today is squatters. So I was like, I've seen, and I'm sure because, there's a lot of videos circulating right now. I think it's kind of a hot topic, though I just kind of really was exposed to it yesterday. And then I really started digging because I was like, okay, maybe they're kind of exaggerating, or maybe that's just this one particular incident or this one circumstance where the squatters are really, they have more rights than the owners and have no consequences. The laws are really, in a lot of states, are protecting them, the squatters, that is, not the homeowners, right? from being evicted out of a place that they have no invested interest in. They have no lease. A lot of them don't have leases, if or permissions from the owner, right? They have no permission to be there. And it is loopholes in the laws, depending on what state you're in, that is basically protecting the squatters and giving them the ability to ease the owners out of their own homes. Or people aren't even wanting to go on vacations. I'm not talking about Airbnbs. I'm talking about people that literally have or they have, that's their residence, and then they leave, either whether they're in the military or they're going to a 9 to 5, come home and they got people in their house, and the police aren't really responding to those calls, making them a priority, or when they do, they come to the house and say that these are civil matters and you have to go through the due process to go into court. Listen, so we're going to watch a video where this woman has had enough, and she is willing, as the homeowner, she took some drastic steps in order to regain, dominion over her residence, and she was not supported, and we're going to see what the outcome was, which I was baffled.
I went to do what I thought was going to be a routine interview. Instead, we capture what police and property owners are dealing with on a daily basis.
I have video of you. Who are these people? Around the situation, but they're in my house, man. Relax. No.
To understand how this day ended,
We need the police right away.
with multiple 911 calls and arrests, we have to start at the beginning.
Adele, the hardest question is, how do you say your name?
We met Adele Andaloro outside the home her parents left her in Flushing, Queens. She's in the process of selling it,
No, he locked it.
but she's been locked out. She claims squatters moved in on February 6th and refused to leave.
What's it like being here knowing you can't go inside of your own home?
It's enraging. It really is.
In New York, squatters have rights after 30 days.
By the time that someone does their investigation and they do their work and their job, we'll be well over the 30 days, and this man will have stolen my home. And now she's back.
Just after wrapping up our interview, a woman showed up.
What are you doing in the house? Are you renting this house? Why are you here?
She unlocked the front door, saw our cameras, and took off.
It's open. Let's go in the house. It's open.
Adele and her daughter, with the property deed in hand, went inside.
This is my furniture. These are my curtains.
She didn't just find her belongings inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found 2 men.
How long have you lived here?
I moved in about 2 days ago.
They've called the police on me, and I've called the locksmith. I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents.
Do you have something that shows that you've been here for more than 30 days?
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs
They got one out.
and escorted the other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks. And it's not fair.
Okay, so yes, no, unbelievable at its very least. Andre said, jokes aside, with more of squatting stories occurring, I'm leaning to not renting this house when I relocate. Sold 2 homes previously, and I'm pondering about renting, but not now. It's definitely something you want to consider. Definitely, and the more you hear of these stories, and maybe even after this after this live, you really won't be wanting to rent. And I'm not here to sway anybody's decision if you're in that situation as a homeowner that is possibly looking at the option to rent it out to keep the investment. However, times are changing, and they're changing at an accelerated rate, right? So first of all, let's unpack this. This woman owns this home. She has the deed to this home. She was locked out of her home. Now, to give some context and background, this her home is in New York City, in New York, in the state of New York. And that I have found out and have discovered that they have squatting protection laws. And they have even relaxed those laws to benefit the squatter more at the beginning of 2023. So if you thought it was a problem before then, during the pandemic, they relaxed the laws even more so when people weren't, when they had become, a lot of them had become accustomed to and acclimated to not paying rent and understanding and learning their rights as squatters. So you have no investment in these properties. No, and actually, as we on the second half, once I push play, the next gentleman, he will tell you why he's not leaving. Now, whether you accept that reason or not, that's up to you. But his primary, this is an alert spoiler. He is primarily stating that he is not leaving the home until he is paid monies for the monies that he put into the home during his tenure and his stay in the home, and until he is compensated for the monies invested. Now, this man is not paying rent. He is not paying the electricity bill. Okay? But whatever monies he claims he's invested into the home, he wants to be compensated before he even considers moving out. So in New York, again, the squatters have rights, and it's a nightmare for a lot of New York homeowners right now because more and more are entering. And can you imagine now that this has gone viral and that this has gained a lot of media attention, that is educating a lot more people with those types of mindsets and opportunists to go out there and do the same thing. So I definitely, I would recommend as a homeowner that you definitely take this into account and consideration when you're trying to consider maintaining and keeping the investment and converting it into a rental property. And a lot of these properties you're going to see, or if you do your research, you will understand that these people, a lot of them don't have leases. These people, when they go on, the homeowners go on vacation, or they, like one lady went on active duty to fight for our country, for the greater good, to serve. She came back, she took people in her house, using her things, her furniture, her personal effects, her belongings are there. I'm painting the picture because I can only imagine. You come home, you got people living in your house, and to add insult to injury, you go through the due diligent process, through the court process, and you still can't get them out. And now we also have to remember, because there's a lot to unpack here as well, that the people, the homeowners already are probably upside down and have incurred costs of maintaining a home that strangers are living in. But when you go to cost, you have legal fees. So imagine the potential nightmares that these people are enduring. So let's continue.
It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
How you doing?
Minutes later, a locksmith showed up, but police gave her a warning before they left.
Oh, okay. So we're going to continue, but now notice she said that she did not break in and that she walked in. Now, had they locked the door and she would have forced entry, she would have been arrested. She would have been charged with trespassing. Ain't that something? Even though her paperwork, her deed, and whatever other documents she has to substantiate that she's the legal and rightful owner of this home, the state of New York says that if a person is in that dwelling for 30 days and they can show that with a bill, a piece of documentation, a piece of mail that's older than 30 days older, you're going to have to take them to court. And the courts, you can, if you do research, I'm here to tell you, they're not taking this as a crisis. They're not addressing this problem as a potential nightmare for homeowners. They're not taking it seriously enough. And that's why these squatters are emboldened and they're so brazen with it, because they know that as long as they know the New York laws and statutes that cover them and they follow it to the T, they'll have a roof over their head. And if the owners are still have the utilities in their names, then they've got free utilities. They come and go as they please, and they get to give the middle finger to the owners of the property. So you know that they're not taking care of most of these properties, right? All right, so let's continue.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court. But today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed, the man who claims to be the one actually leasing the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door, broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house. Yes, he did. And so did you. You broke through the front door.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They consider this a landlord-tenant issue. And by law, it has to be handled through the housing court, not with police.
Did you see the defiance and the confidence in that? He got his hands in his pocket, standing in her home, telling her that she is trespassing and that he is where he should be. Okay? Oh, it gets better. So let's continue.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own it.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the. As you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a lease in October.
As you got to go to court and send me to civil court. You should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the. As you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
Well, who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
So this man doesn't even have a lease in his possession, though he's telling the news anchor gentleman that he signed a lease in October of 2023. So he breaks, because the locks were changed. Remember this, right? He breaks the door in. He probably kicked it in, right? Which causes damage, significant amount of damage that he's not going to replace. He's not going to pay for, because the law is protecting him. And that is his dwelling per law at this time. And the fact that he knows this, it makes him so indignant and so haughty and cocky. That's right, Miss Genesis. Lawbreakers always know the law better than anybody, because that's the only thing that they have on their side. And once you learn the law, then you learn what to do and what not to do. Let's continue.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed
That's
is
what it's
current
told
and
already.
legal.
Arrested for unlawful.
He says that that's not her house anymore, but you don't have a lease, so a damn show ain't your house. And how do you know if you don't have any lease to provide? The reason why he don't, and this is my opinion, the reason he don't have a lease to provide, because he knew that either there is no lease, or the lease that he signed was from somebody shady that probably he said, okay, well, the price is good for the rent. They're not the owner, so whatever he gives them is going to be 100% profit, right? And they don't care about the documentation. He's like, okay, the price is right. This is New York we're talking about. And that's a pretty nice home, considering some of the homes that I've seen in the dwellings and the sizes of the dwellings in New York. So I'm sure that the deal that was presented to him, he knew something shady was going on. That's why he ain't showing nobody a lease, right? Because there is no lease. Hello. Let's continue.
Eviction. She changed the locks on a man who claims he lives there.
So how does this all end then? When do you leave?
The way it ends is either she pays me my money that I put into the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave, or send me to court, and we deal with the judge in court. It's that simple.
Wow. Wow. God knows who to allow things to happen to, because I'm telling you right now, I'd have had so many charges on me going uptown. I'd have made it worth my stay.
It's not that simple. It's a long process. Eviction can take close to 2 years to complete.
Okay. 2 years. 2 years of the owner going through litigation. Right? Okay, some type of truth to it, right? Yes. No, his arrogance was just, and can you imagine how violated as a homeowner you would feel that this man broke into your stuff while you're standing there, while you are in the home with your daughter? Okay, this strange man breaks the door down and comes in and tells you he's not leaving. But that's her, I want to cuss, but I'm not going to. That's her stuff in the house. And then remember, they took a man when she got into the house. Before that gentleman got there, there was a man sleeping in the home. And when the police asked him how long he had been there, he said 2 days. So yes, he didn't know what was going on, or he didn't know the protections that squatters get, because he said 2 days instead of 30 or plus, right? 2 years. So just to give a little bit of context, I was trying to do some research on the court system and the current timing of the average time that owners are going through the process to get squatters out the house. And there's not a whole lot of information out there, but I did find where they were talking about the costs, and it was stated that the minimum for legal fees, now this is just for legal fees, but there are other fees that are associated with going to court outside of legal fees, right? We're looking at a minimum of $500 to $10,000. And if it takes up to 2 years in the state of New York to get someone evicted or legally tossed out, we're looking at a lot more. This man is in her home, and she ends up getting taken out in handcuffs while he gets to spend another night, or 6 months, or 4 months, or however long it's going to take. Because at this point, we don't know how long they've been there. How long? Well, he said October, so we do have kind of a gauge, but we also don't know how long it's going to take for the court system to act on her behalf. Right. So now, based off of the state of New York, legally an owner can or start the paperwork for eviction process after 14 days. So they get 2 weeks, but they can stay up in a home up to 2 years, depending on how fast or how slow the court system is moving, how much of a precedent or priority, and how serious it's being taken. But you can see and based off of our next video, another heartbreaking one, you're going to be able to tell that these people are living comfortably rent-free, no mortgage, no cost expenses outside of, no living expenses, let's put it that way. This is insane. So I'm going to share another video.
Buying a dream home turned into a nightmare. You heard him, for this family from Queens. The house came with something the new owners did not bargain for, a squatter. More than 4 months after purchasing that home, the family says they still can't go inside, and they've faced roadblock after roadblock trying to get the man who is staying there out. Investigative reporter Dan Crow joins us now with more.
Sandra, the family says they've had no choice but to take the man living inside their home to court. And despite having hearing after hearing, they still haven't been able to move in.
It has just taken over everything.
Susanna and Joseph Landa bought what they thought was their dream retirement home in Douglaston, Queens.
We're looking to hopefully retire and most of all, provide for my son, Alex, who has Down syndrome. He has a disability.
The new house is right next door to family members.
I just want to know that I can die tomorrow when he's next to his brother.
They signed the deed back in October. And then what happens?
The nightmare begins.
This family this is their retirement home, and they have a special needs son. And they can't move in. They can't move in. Let's continue.
The house came with something unexpected. A man living in their home who they say refuses to leave.
We couldn't believe it. We could not believe it.
His name's Brett Flores.
They cannot come here early when I'm not here.
They have keys. They're the owner.
This is what happened when the Landas tried to enter with an insurance inspector. They say Flores called the cops on them, even though they say they gave him 10-day notice. He wasn't a renter.
Never.
You didn't sign documents that said, we have a tenant.
Correct.
Court documents detail in Flores' own words why he's there. A signed statement says he was hired by the former homeowner as his caretaker, was paid $3,000 a week, and his employment ended in January of last year when the man died. He claims he has a license to stay in the house from the previous owner.
Oh my God. Wow. So this clown, ooh, he's crafty. And how is he? My question is, he doesn't have a lease. He didn't sign a lease. The person that died signed the lease. So if this man is not on the lease, what kind of laws does New York have? Ain't no way I will own a piece of property in New York. Ain't no way. And that brings me to the point that people, we need to educate ourselves. We need to become more aware. We have to ask the right questions when it comes to real estate. One of the biggest investments you'll ever make, right? If not the biggest for most. You have to educate yourself before you go into a major purchase like that. And you have to really find out what the laws, the protection laws are in the state that you're looking to purchase property in. What a mess. What a mess. So this man, this is what he alleges. He alleges and claims that the man that died, that had the lease, the original lease. He was his caretaker. He made $3,000 a week. So you're getting paid $3,000 a week to stay rent-free in a house that you're not on the lease with. But the state of New York is saying by their laws and statutes that the owners have to take you to court. They bought this house and have not been able to move in. The man called the police when the insurance adjuster or agent came to the house to do some work on behalf of the owners, and he wouldn't let him in the house. Yeah, I know why you wouldn't let him in the house, but I'll keep that to myself. Let's continue. Child.
A lot of people don't realize is in New York, squatters have rights after 30 days.
30 days. How can you have rights if you have no lease, you're not paying rent? So what is your right?
Not only has Flores been living there, they claim he listed the home online to rent rooms to other people. The only way to try and get him out, they're taking him to landlord-tenant court, trying to get him evicted.
We have had already 5 hearings at civil court.
He shows up, no attorney.
If it's not one excuse, is another excuse.
Okay, so they're paying legal fees with an attorney. He comes with no attorney, and they've had to take this man to court 5 times. And he's still in the house. On top of that, he said, okay, this ain't enough. I'm in a $2 million house. I'm not paying any, I don't have a lease. I'm not paying any bills. And this couple actually have the utilities in their name. And I think her or the husband is going to elaborate on the costs that they are incurring, that they have to pay for a total stranger to deny them access to the house said paid for, as well as telling them that they have no ability or authority to come in. Ooh.
He filed the bankruptcy. So that prevents everything from going forward.
Meanwhile, they've been paying.
Whoa, I missed that, y'all. I missed that. There's a special place for this man. There is a special place for this man. I'm going to leave it at that. This man filed bankruptcy on top of everything. So now he has bought himself. Oh my God, you got to know the laws of your state. You got to know the laws of your state.
Paying all the bills,
leaving windows wide open 24 hours,
including thousands of dollars in utilities.
It makes me feel completely forgotten in the legal system, not able to do anything.
As for Flores, no one answered the door. He did answer the phone.
I'm doing my best to try to get your side of the story, so you're telling me to call your attorney?
An attorney who told me
you're going to settle it through the court system.
No comment.
Our system is broken. We have no rights. We have no rights at all. Nothing, zero.
And this issue may not be resolved anytime soon. The next court hearing for this case isn't scheduled until April. Sandra?
Okay. Ooh-wee. April. So he done filed bankruptcy. They managed to get another court hearing in April. And I imagine that between the last court hearing and this one, he filed bankruptcy. So guess what that's going to mean in an already slow-moving court system when it comes to squatters' rights and homeownership. Mel W says legal expenses rack up quick, and that's what he's hoping for them to say it's not worth the fight. When I tell you there's a special place for that man, trust me when I tell you that. There's a special place. Oh, and it gets better. Miss Yo, the couple could file a Chapter 7 and walk away, so what could the squatter do? That's a great, great question. But then it messes up. First of all, where are they going to go? They probably put and invested everything that they had into this property, especially now that they've incurred legal fees, expenses, and trying to maintain. They showed you, I don't know if that was the light bill or the mortgage, but that said $2,400, and that was in the span of 1 month. God space, bingo, that part. Everything of value should be going in a trust. Everything. But you know what? When we know better, we do better. We don't have, we're running out of excuses to say, I didn't know. There's way too many avenues for us to seek out the information, the pertinent information, especially once again, when it comes to such a major purchase or such a life changing situation like buying a home or purchasing land. This is crazy. This doesn't make any sense to me. And so, okay, we're going to keep moving. There's one more video. It gets better. And I wanted to get out of New York, and we're going to good old Atlanta. And I'm telling you, all of these stories are jaw-dropping to me. Let's go ahead and continue. Hold on. I'll get it together, y'all. It's been just one of them days. Okay.
Squatters are entering homes and just refusing to leave. They're walking in and claiming these homes as their very own. So far, a whopping 1,200 homes have been affected, and some residents now say they're even afraid to go on vacation. Lawrence Jones is in Atlanta right now to highlight this issue. He confronted one of those alleged squatters yesterday.
They're saying that you're squatting here.
No, I'm not squatting. My son got it. He's in jail. He was paying these people every month. The police been out here already.
Yeah,
we talked to them already.
So we talked to the realtor here that owns
I don't care. I talked to the people. They told me,
so you paid them every month?
Every month at the P.O. box.
So what are they talking about?
I don't know. The police told me they're going to send me a court date.
Where did you meet this person that gave you the
on Craigslist.
On Craigslist?
Yeah, he met him on Craigslist.
Bill White is the CEO of the Buckhead City.
So if we go off of what she's saying, there are brokers, for lack of a better word, that have information and knowledge of these properties enough to market them, to have access to them, and to have enough savvy to deal with people, give them a good bottom line, a good, reasonable, something that they can afford. Because again, that's going to be 100% profit, no matter what they get paid. Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
Committee. Buckhead is a district in the city of Atlanta, a beautiful area, and he joins me now. Bill, good morning to you. This problem is outrageous. An estimated 1,200 homes have just been taken over by squatters, and some of these homes that I was looking at online are beautiful, and it looks like they're in really nice neighborhoods. So tell us about this problem and how it was allowed to get this massive.
That reinforces, in my opinion, that these people have to have inside information on these properties in order to be able to have possession or to be able to have the ability to move around, to get in it, to rent it out, to know how long it will take for the owners to come back. Maybe the house hasn't been rented out. It's just been sitting there, especially the nicer homes. So, of course, a reasonable rental amount to a beautiful home in an expensive state with squatters' laws to protect you. Sounds like a win-win for a lot of people that don't have a moral compass or don't mind reaping the benefit of other people's hard work, perseverance, and sacrifice. Let's continue.
Well, good morning, Carly. And I love Lawrence going in there. Please be careful, Lawrence. We love you.
Yeah.
These are some very dangerous situations. We're very familiar with this. The fact that we have 1,200 homes in the capital city, great state of Georgia, as I say, because the fact that this is happening, you look at first things first, we're on Fox and Friends first, and I think it's terrible to try to apply blame to one person because this is a collaborative problem going on in Atlanta. But Atlanta is now known as a criminal's paradise. It's where people come here to commit crime. We have murder rates at the top of the list, in fact, even beyond Chicago. And one of the things I would really like to say is we have a mayor that voted to defund the police. So we're 1,000 police short in the city of Atlanta.
I did want to use the video that he's speaking on as a talking point, as a reference, and as to provide more context to this becoming a nationwide issue, aside or instead of it being state specific, right? So we're talking about New York and then we're talking about Atlanta. And if you go to put in squatters and homeowner issues in the bar and YouTube, there are pages and pages of titles and videos that are coming up with more states that are being affected, right? Directly affected.
This is a catastrophic problem in the great city of Atlanta, the capital city of Georgia.
Yeah, Bill, 1,000 police officers short and a distracted DA and local leaders leads to issues like this. And there were 4 people.
Okay, so I was looking at the picture and at least they're being duly evicted at some point. So in this particular video, you actually see arrests being made to the people that are squatting. You see belongings and personal effects being brought outside the house and dropped on the curb. So there, at least we saw something other than the owner being put in handcuffs, and an older couple with a special needs adult son saying that everything we have, we've poured into this home we can't move into, and we're paying monthly expenses for someone else to do so that has no right to be there. Let's continue.
Who were recently arrested, but only after federal agents had to get involved because they turned a beautiful home into a strip club, and they held street races outside. They had a horse that was just walking up and down streets, stolen cars, stolen weapons, stolen credit cards. But the story that's even more infuriating, there's a U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. Her name is Dahlia Dura. She was away on active duty. And when she returned to her house, there was a squatter living there. She went to the cops. They said they couldn't do anything. It was a civil matter. So then she had to jump through all these hoops to get this person who just entered her home to leave. So what's the solution to this?
So when it comes to, man, it's like, okay, so I'm sitting back, and while I'm looking at these videos, I am imagining that being real life, that this is not a skit. These are not, though, these are real situations where you can see real emotion and real despair coming from people that wanted to partake of what the quote unquote American dream has been, or has been sold to us on. And so it takes so much in order to do that. And whether you own one property or you own several properties, it takes steps to get it, but it also takes a lot to maintain it. Ms. Kim, thank you for coming up.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, welcome. I saw some of the comments you were putting in the chat, but I wanted you, it would be better from you. You put it together so well.
Yes, well, the first comment I made about the rental properties that my husband and I owned, being in the military, we moved a lot, and then at certain duty stations we decided to buy, and because the wait list for base housing or the cost for rent exceeded the price of a mortgage, so we and the wait list for base housing was so long, our time would be up at that duty station. So by the time we got base housing, so we decided to buy at a few of our duty stations, and we rented the houses. And surprisingly, most of the properties that we owned, the renters, they were never military. We just assumed, we thought that we'd be renting to other military people, but majority of our renters, they were not military people. And we just got concerned because really a couple of the properties, they were townhouses or condos. And so, you have that HOA fee, and it kept going up every year. And so, and then entering the pandemic, and then we start hearing rumblings of people not being given a reprieve. And we looked at our finances like, can we afford to just foot the complete bill for years? We just don't know how long this is going to be. And my husband's like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't know how long this is going to be. Let's just sell. And even then, we had to know the rules on how much notice do you have to give, because some of the properties had tenants in them already, so how much time do you have to give them, how much notice, so that we don't owe them to even, get them out of the lease. And so, and being different states, you had to know the rule for each state, and so I learned a lot, and I'm so thankful we got rid of those properties. I really am. Especially the ones, we had a couple properties in California. So I'm really, because California's going to hell in a handbasket. And I am so glad we got rid of those properties. But I saw a I think it was a TikTok video, but I saw it on X today, and I thought that you were going to actually be covering that video. And it was of I think he was from Venezuela, but he was an illegal immigrant here, giving advice to other illegals to take over houses, to squat into houses, because he learned that this is how they can live and live good for free. And I saw that video, and it really disturbed me. And he was not speaking, he was speaking in Spanish. And the video, there was an interpreter for the video. And that's what he was doing. He was advising other people, other illegals, to start, because he said he knew a friend who was here who was from Africa, who his family members, they had taken over 7 homes.
What?
Yes. Yeah, I saw it on X, Twitter, whatever, today, and I was so disturbed. And so that's the invasion. They're going to take over our homes, and these squatter laws in these cities that are so relaxed. Eviction, as a property owner, I know the eviction process is a pain, and it's gonna be bad. You think it's bad now? It's gonna be bad.
You bring that up, and I'm sitting here thinking, because in January, I want to say, of 2023, particularly in New York, as we know, is also a sanctuary city. Those laws were even more relaxed following the pandemic, because remember, those protections were raised after they considered the pandemic over, and people, like you said, they took that as an opportunity to stay steadfast in the house. But the timing is just, to me, I don't believe in coincidence. So now, right after, or a few months after, I forgot, can you remind me what they called it? There was a term that they called it. And it was a leniency granted to them, that during the pandemic you couldn't evict people.
Yeah, I think it was like rent forgiveness or something like that. I know it expired, but
Yeah.
now people are using the squatting in place of
Mhm.
that, because some people are still not paying rent, so they have become squatters.
Wow. So, like I said, I don't find it coincidental that those laws in New York, particularly where they have some of the most migrants, are actually relaxed. They're even, like you said, more relaxed than they were during the pandemic, or at least, at the very least, extended. But they said in the news that they were more relaxed, that they gave them more protection in the due process of the court system. And that man in that one video, if you can send me that link, I'll put my email in the chat. That's if you may or may not remember, but I'm not really on TikTok like that. So that, even though I do search sometimes through them, but I think YouTube doesn't really like a lot of cross-platform video referencing. At least that's my take on it. So I try to be mindful, and I kind of try to stay on YouTube, to use YouTube. But I don't mind. They're usually very short. So if I need to edit it out, or if they get me on a copyright, then I can just take it right out. But I think it's worth mentioning if it's something that you can access. If not, it's okay, because I can
Oh
always.
yeah, if you can put your email in the chat, and I will definitely, because I actually saw it on X, formerly Twitter, and it was a TikTok video that someone had posted to their Twitter account, and I'm sure, hopefully by now, someone has it on YouTube. But I will definitely go back and find it and email it to you.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, see, child, thank you so much. I appreciate your financial blessing. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice. We got Andre. Thank you, Andre. You're always a blessing. Everybody is always so nice and so kind. And always, I don't have any expectations. So, anything, I'm going to feel very grateful and very appreciative. And we got Miss Melanie. Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate you so much for the financial blessings. Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to do another giveaway too. Once I hit 500, we're going to do a giveaway kind of like I did last time. I thought that it went pretty well last time. So to be one for a male and one for a female. One for man and one for a woman, because that's all that's allowed up in my chat, right? Men and women, not boys and girls. So I know I had to do it. Okay. So while we're waiting on that, let's see, because there's a whole lot that we can kind of cover on this, especially looking at the videos it provides. Oh my gosh, unfortunately a lot of content. So let's talk about the house that was converted into a strip club where they did drag racing in front of the house on the street. And I want to dig just a little deeper inside. I don't really want to talk about the surface stuff about, maybe why is it a strip club, why y'all racing up and down the street. But there's no way, when I was a kid, anybody that I hung around, nobody would have ever exhibited behavior like that. Nobody would have been comfortable to exhibit behavior like that. And I say that because when we're raising children without fathers in the home, we're raising children where the mothers are in survival mode. The mothers are working more times often than not, multiple jobs, just trying to provide for the children, because in not all, but many instances, you have the fathers that, where the mother and the father haven't learned how to co-parent effectively for the best welfare of their children yet, right? And some don't learn it. We're living in a society where the children don't have anything to do, and they're heavily influenced by platforms on social media, access to technology, and anything at the touch of a fingertip. It used to be a time where children, like with my children, they had to be a certain age before they got their first phone or their first iPad anytime, because to me they're interchangeable. You can access the same information on the phone that you can on an iPad, or vice versa, Galaxy, whatever, doesn't matter. But just times are so different that don't promote investing into our children. You got parents out here that don't put any effort, any sacrifice. God forbid. It bewilders me when you have mothers that make children feel guilty because they have to take care of them. That child didn't ask to be brought into this world. Who are you to crush a child before they even have a fair chance at life? You crush their spirit when the first people that are supposed to exhibit the most unconditional love to a child is a mother and a father. Family members. If you can't depend on your mom and your dad, and if you don't have your dad and you have your mom, and your mom doesn't display that type of attitude or feeling towards you, or if you have a dad and the moms aren't present and the fathers are acting like you're a burden to them, what does that do to a child's self-esteem? If a child doesn't have a strong foundation, this is what we get. We get people walking around feeling like they have impunity, that there are no consequences to their actions. They have no moral compass that kicks in and says, you know what, I'm not going to do this person like that because I don't know what this person did to get here. And this is not for me. This is for them. How lost, how misdirected is a generation where they are going into drugstores, they're closing, y'all. And I feel like this is by design too, because it's all part of the agenda, and it all makes sense to go and do everything online. That Amazon during the pandemic, well, none but a test. And it passed their standards enough to where Now we got all these illegal immigrants coming in, unmonitored, welcomed in with open arms, given our tax money, supplied with resources, supplied with all of their basic human needs, when we have so many people in this country that are homeless, hungry, and a lot of them are our veterans. You can't tell me that this is not intentional, and it is all working together, right? So you have the illegal immigrants coming in, and Kwame did a live this morning saying, now I don't know whether, I can't confirm whether this is true or not, because I heard it through his live, where he said that the illegal immigrants may be allowed to carry guns. So that means there's discussion. That means usually that means if that's being talked about, it's as good as passed. And then we don't know what kind of terrorists are in this country, who's come across those borders. We got issues. We got some issues because the war of this world is not tangible. It is not external. It is spiritual. We can't do this alone. We can't do this on our own. We all have to be looking and acknowledging a power higher than ourselves, no matter what we're calling that higher power. In my opinion, the higher power always answers because a person knows their name. They respond to their name. And whatever your name is for that higher power is going to recognize it. We are dealing with a generation that doesn't feel like anybody cares. So why should they? That's a problem. We are in, and I say we're in it. Some people say, well, we're looking at it, or we're embarking upon a lawless society. We're already here. When you got squatters that are putting the owners out of their own homes, and the audacity, the confidence, the cockiness, them standing 10 toes down, you would have thought that they were the owners of the home, as fierce as they took a stance in order to stay. They had both middle fingers up, subliminally, the whole time, based off of their mannerisms, their behaviors, their attitudes, and their indignation on saying, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if I don't pay rent. I don't care if I got a lease. I don't care if I owe. I don't care if I leave the windows open in a home that I'm paying no utility bills for. Somebody's paying them because they're staying on. And chances are, in a $2 million home, they got an HOA, so they can't be without power, or the real owners are going to have a whole nother situation with the HOA. So we are dealing with a multifaceted issue. And again, I'm going to say, I don't understand how we can walk around and I'm talking all of us. If it applies, then it applies, right? Not everybody. I take that back. Not everybody, but many people are walking through with blinders on. Like, I guess, I don't know if subconsciously we have the attitude, and I say we collectively, not me personally, because I don't apply this to myself, but I feel like we have the attitude that if it doesn't affect us directly, then why am I going to worry about it? But if it hasn't hit your doorstep yet, it's coming. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And that's why it should be a vested interest in us doing things collectively and joining forces and putting differences to the side. But we can't even do that on a small scale. We can't do that because we're so emotional. We're so sensitive about everything, that this person said this and this person said that. We can't even, talking about real problems, it would topple some of these people over. They will crash all the way out. because some of them are crashing out over he said, she said. You got called a ban. That's the word of 20. I'm not saying it's right, but it's the word of 2024 and half of 2023 is being called BANs. We ought to be immune to it at this point, to a degree to where we don't crash out. You can be offended, but all I'm saying is that we got to get past the small stuff in order to be able to tackle anything on a large scale. And from the outside in, it's going to take divine intervening for us to be able to conquer what's coming at us collectively, right? Timo TV says it's already in my neck of the woods. That's what I'm saying. It's everywhere. A lot of it just doesn't make the media. The media is saturated though. If you're not on TikTok, then you go on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, then it's going to be on IG. We don't have any excuses. We should be aware. Miss Yo said we are already here for sure. Absolutely. Miss Alaya Ben says Louisiana. I apologize if I called you miss and you're not a miss. I would like to know what your name means. I know it has meaning, but I don't want to misappropriate you, so I apologize. Louisiana just passed a bill. You don't need a concealed permit anymore to carry. Yeah, there are a few states. If I'm not mistaken, I thought Georgia was one of those states too. Am I wrong on that? I think Georgia is also in that category as well. So it reminds me of the marijuana movement, right? So I remember in Colorado, it was first passed, and then it was introduced and passed in California in dispensaries with medical cards. And now we're pretty much, I know it's well over half the states at this point. So it's only a matter of time before it's nationwide. So definitely, and that's just an example. There are many things. What they always say, if it starts off in New York or California, chances are the rest of the country will have to get in line because all of them will eventually be affected, right? Riders for Life said there's a way the homeowners can fight, that they have to look up their rights and laws, and they can fight this and win. And that's the key. That right there is the key, is that they have to know what their rights are and what the laws are to the letter when it comes to the entire situation. They have to know their rights, and they have to know the squatters' rights, or the people that are infringing upon their property illegally. They have to be aware. That's it in a nutshell, right? Yes, that's right, Ms. Tasha. Salute to you. Peace and blessings. She says the Second Amendment will be our friend. Telling you, I'm not here to tell nobody what to do, but you a sitting duck if you don't have, if you're not friends with the range. If you know, somebody in your house better be going to the range, and they need to be at home most of the time. So if that's not the situation, then you need to be going. Our children need to be going. And that's just my opinion. Right. So listen, I'm not going to, nobody else wants to hit the link. Let me just check my email real quick. I know she said she was dealing with the fur babies. But if she sent it, then I would definitely look for it. And then we can cover that real quick before we go on with our day. Because that, to me, based off of how she described it and gave the scenario, that this is deeper than just squatters' rights. That, like she said, this is their way in. And so they sound organized. They sound intentional, and they sound like they came here with a plan. So we have to be mindful of that. We have to protect our interests, our families, and we have to not walk around in a bubble and unaware of our surroundings. Women, don't be going out at night by yourselves. There should be, in an optimal situation, you should have some type of a man or male in your home to be able to cover. We living in a time where we have to look past who we attracted to. but what works for the collective good. And with that being said, I'm gonna stop right there because I could go. No, I could go. Hey, welcome. Hey, Miss Rachel, how you doing?
Blessings, Miss Akemi. I'm finding you. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear. Peace and blessings to you.
Blessings, blessings. My bad, because I'm on my phone. Like I thought there was a delay. Um,
Good.
you spitting some gems, and the other lady that was up here was spitting some gems too. I know of two people that had to deal with squatters in their house. One lost a case for the simple fact that, when they had to go to court, they was looking for them and they couldn't find the owner of the house. So the squatters ended up winning that situation. But there was this lady that she went out and she left from Philly to Puerto Rico. She owned her house. She had her house fenced up, signed up saying private property, no trespassing. So she followed every law. So she was able to win her case for the simple fact that she proved that, when you're a homeowner, in order to fix your house, you have to have permits and all that stuff. These squatters couldn't prove that, they had permits. They were, regardless of how much money they spent on there, this owner won the case for the simple fact that she had all her paperwork in check and she knew her rights and she knew her laws. They were trespassing. She had a sign up. She had proof that she had a sign up. Nobody was allowed in that house. Her yard was fenced up, and she even has a gate in front of her steps, and it's her porch is gated up with another sign on the porch saying no trespassing. While the other family lost the case for the simple fact that, like, damn, you have a whole court system looking for you. Mail sent out to you. They're trying to find, ways to get in touch with you, nowhere to find. By the time somebody reached you, they was already dealing with this in court. So the squatters obviously won regardless of anything. You abandoned your house for over years. Squatters were in your house for over years making, noise, doing this, fixing it up, doing all the above. So they won the case. Where was you as a homeowner? So I don't know if they were immigrants that, squatted the house or not, but there's so many ways that you can go about this if you're a homeowner, especially if you got that paperwork on check and you know your rights.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. And no, it's super important that you know your rights, because without your rights, what else is there?
Yeah, because like with
What
these
else?
squatters, they get away with a lot of stuff. Yeah, but like we have a lot of these situations. Yeah, now with the immigrants and all this happening, like it's a hard topic for me to speak. It's crazy because I've seen a lot of stuff, but like regardless of the situation, yeah, we have to stand up, we have to speak up, and a lot of people, a lot of homeowners don't know how to fight these situations because they don't know their rights. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. Like we can't go by the he say, she say. Sometimes following what somebody else says ends up drowning you deeper, and it's best for us to do our own research and figure out, what it is that we need to know about our own properties. And I can know that the best way to go about it is if you do own a property, make sure you have them signs. It's like when you have a dog. If you have a dog in your property and you have a sign in front of your property that says beware of dog, anybody that trespasses that property and tries to say, oh, the dog bit me and call the cops, no, you're going to jail. The sign said beware of dog. My dog's not getting put down. I don't care how many excuses or how hard you cry or how dramatic you get in front of an officer. And I know that because I've been through it. Like I had somebody that came in, I told them leave. They wouldn't leave. My dog ended up biting them because they raised their hands on me. They tried to call the cops. I told them, listen, I'm gonna do you a favor. Let me call the cops for you because I know my rights. My dog's got their papers, got their shots. I asked you to leave plenty of times. Leave my property. Leave my property. You wouldn't leave. My dog did his job. You try to raise your hands. No, they're not gonna put my dog down. See, people think I'm gonna call the cops. Dog bit. No, I know what I gotta go. I know what I gotta do. So it's almost the same thing. I'm just trying to, put a
No,
couple examples out there.
in context. No, we got to know our rights. We have to know the laws. We have to be aware of, again, so many people have rental properties or they relocate, or they're looking outside, of their familiar state, where they probably are very informed. But we have to. It could change like night, and it does change like night and day, depending on what state you're interested in dealing with property, especially when it comes to real estate. I can't emphasize it enough. And without me having to emphasize it, all I have to do is just replay the videos. Just a couple of videos we played today. So no, definitely. Okay, so well, I appreciate you coming up. I'm not rushing you off, but I did get that video, so I do kind of want to run that clip. I'm
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to go down.
Appreciate you as well. Thank you. Thank you for always coming up and adding value to the content. I appreciate you, Miss Rachel. You have a wonderful day.
You too, Miss Akimi.
Okay, baby. Okay, y'all. So hold on. Let's see. Where's the video? Video file. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I think we got something here. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. 4309. Okay, so let's do this. I'm coming. I think I found a way to do it. Here we go.
He pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo que ese será mi próximo negocio. Invadir casas abandonadas, ya que me he buscado unos códigos con mis amigos africanos y me dijeron que ya llevan como 7 casas expropiadas. Y como dice el dicho, papi, hay que buscar la vuelta. Y la vuelta ahorita mismo es invadir casas, ya que nos encontramos en situación de calle y es la única manera que tenemos para no vivir en la calle y no ser una carga pública. Capichi, la ley dice que las casas abandonadas, deterioradas y que esté en mal estado, podemos llegar y repararlas, vivir en ella y si podemos venderla, hasta pedir créditos con ella. ¿Qué dicen ustedes?
What the hell did I just watch? I want to see that one more time.
He pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos.
He said seize it. He didn't say occupy. He said seize. There's power in words.
Aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo
Land invasion. Look at the words he's using, though. Look at the expression on his face. Look at his disposition. He said seize and land invasion. He is making a very, very clear declaration. And he is unapologetic about it. He is sounding the alarm. And these people are still wondering if they're going to ban TikTok.
que ese será mi próximo negocio. Invadir casas abandonadas, ya que me he buscado unos códigos con mis amigos africanos.
What codes is he talking about? Does anybody know? Eric, come on now. And he might get it. He just might get it. Because he done plastered his face. And if it's going, and it sounds like it should be viral if it's not yet. See how that works for you. I don't know. I don't know. He's speaking as if I'm telling you, they're coming over here with the attitude that they have nothing to lose. They don't have nothing to lose. They left everything, and most of them done left family. You can't bring everybody. It's do or die. And when they get over here, they're seeing things that they've never seen before, and they're seeing how the Americans take everything for granted, and how broken this system is, and how many holes this government has in it.
Y me dijeron que ya llevan como 7 casas expropiadas. Y como dice el dicho, papi, hay que buscar la vuelta.
He said, look for the return. Another thing, too, is that you have all across this nation, they are employing less and less police officers, which means some people will not take things into their own hands. They will not take matters into their own hands. Some will. But without the law enforcement, a substantial amount of law enforcement to be able to handle, they're going to be dealing with more serious crimes. This is not serious. They're already doing it. This is not new. That's right, Miss Yo. It is definitely, it already is the us against them. He's sounding the alarm, y'all. That's all I got to say.
La vuelta ahorita mismo es invadir casas, ya que nos encontramos.
I want to bring up a point. Now, he's speaking his language, but the translation, he's using very specific words. He's using war words, combative words, and he's doing it intentionally. I just wanted to point that out.
En situación de calle, y es la única manera que tenemos para no vivir en la calle y no ser una carga pública. Capichi?
He's saying that if he refuses to lay in the street to be a public burden, as if to justify coming over into a land illegally and occupying it as your own and doing it, moving as if you expect impunity. You are taking possession. This is when he says invade, that's exactly what he's saying. It is an invasion that this administration has allowed. And I will take it a step further. They have welcomed them. When you are giving food stamp cards, monies for rent, domains to be able to inhabit, you are putting children out of schools, having them learn remotely while y'all sleep in it and make it a home. And you're using our tax money, resources, and land to do it. But it's allowed and it's encouraged. What we gonna do, people? What we gonna do?
La ley dice que las casas abandonadas, deterioradas y que esté en mal estado, podemos llegar y repararlas, vivir en ellas y si podemos venderlas, hasta pedir créditos con ella.
So, okay. I'm glad this is almost over. So he just said that y'all can take broken down homes, fix them up, and sell them with the credit from this country, using our credit system, which means the only thing you're going to be putting into it is labor. That's it. And you're going to make 100% profit on a home or live in it rent free. And I don't know if he's talking about laws that are actually, but it sounds like he knows what he's talking about, or it sounds like he at least did some due diligence and some research, which is more than what I know at this point. And everything that these people are being given in order to come over here and break laws and rules that we as citizens will go to jail for and lose everything behind, including our children and our families. I'm speechless, Timo. Well, almost.
Dicen ustedes.
Okay. I don't know how to close this thing out. Let's do this. Okay. Wow, y'all. Writers for Life says it's a law. That's why I hoped on and said what I said. It's a law. That's why yes. And he spoke like he knew the law. And they have a plan. Where's our plan? Where's our plan? We're not going to be, I'm telling you right now, we're not going to be able to move in isolation and win this. We're not going to be able to move the way we're moving now and be victorious in any capacity. The alarms have been sounded in our culture for a while, at least since I know before the pandemic, depending on who's listening and who's saying it, but definitely since the pandemic. In the past 2 years, people have been screaming when they see what's coming, when they're paying attention, when they're watching, they're staying in tune and in the know of the bills being passed, of the major laws being put through, and the things that they're doing in order to do it. And it's costing a lot of us a lot of things. You know, there's something about that man that disturbed my whole spirit. When I saw him, before I ever heard a word that he said, it didn't sit right with me. But listening to him speak, you're looking at a man that has nothing to lose. Nothing. And that's the scariest person to come across, is somebody that doesn't have anything to lose. Kim, thank you for sharing this. Kelvin H, yep, facts. Thank you for sharing this. Sometimes we need those raw wake-up calls or those raw reminders that we can't sit around and continue to look through the lens of life as we have known it and think that that's going to work for today or for our current times. And we're just, in my opinion, we got a long way to go. So whatever that means for you, I am glad that I've been able to use my platform to at least, if nothing else, bring awareness. For those homeowners, I just implore all of us that wherever you decide to purchase property, I don't even recommend that you do it at this point, with the circumstances being the market is so volatile. I just don't think, I don't know. I'm not giving advice. I'm not purchasing any more property during this time. But not to get off task, I just want to reemphasize that we have to know the laws, we have to know the statutes, we have to know the expectations, we have to know the consequences, not just of our offender, but of us as well. To know your rights holds more power than knowing somebody else's. At the end of the day, yeah. So nobody else wants to come up. I think I'll read a few more comments and then we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. We're pushing 2 hours, so thank y'all for the ones that have been with me through thick and thin today. I appreciate every last one of y'all. What's worse is that those coming illegally are some of the most racist against Black Americans, and that's by design. There's a disparity on the amount of Venezuelans, of a lot of different cultures that are very open and very honest about their disdain for Black Americans. Africans. There are a lot of Africans. It's a huge continent. So, and as he stated, you know, you got Africans in whatever countries he's from. They're consolidating. They're coming together for the greater good. They're working together in order to obtain a common goal. When are we going to take a page out that book and implement it, y'all? This is probably one of the best comments and possible solutions, because that last video threw me. I'm not going to even lie to you. Miss Yo Thought said all families need to live in the same house and pile up like we used to do. We have gotten way too comfortable. We also need to be stocking up on our essentials, canned goods, water, sources of water. You need to have a bug out bag with some survival techniques. You need the filtering straws. You need a first aid kit. You need walkie-talkies. You need to really establish a meeting place for all of your family. If you get and establish that, do drills, go to it together and separately and meet there in case something happens and you get separated. I learned that when I saw Hurricane Katrina and how many people were separated from their families and didn't know if they were alive or unalived. Some never found them. There was so much migrating going on. People were leaving the city and the state in droves that it really is important that we at least prepare. Make sure you have enough ammunition. At the end of the day, your important papers, put them in waterproof little bags that go around your neck. Cell phones, at the end of the day, it's not as important as having the essentials in case you need them. And from the looks of it, I would have more peace of mind knowing I had those things on hand and not need them than to need them and not have them. Mel W says, I see more Hispanics using the N-word than Black students in the school building, and I can't even tell what was told to me when I addressed it with the school leaders. Ooh. It's a lot. You might need to do a live on this, Mel, or do a video. Yeah. This is multifaceted. It's a lot going on. Okay, so we are at an hour and 46 minutes, y'all. And I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna do some more reflecting and some more research. I might do a part 2 to this because this is definitely multi-layered. That last video just kind of took it in a whole nother direction, but I think there should be some light shed on that as well. but it doesn't exonerate y'all from doing your own due diligence, your own research, keeping your ear to the ground. Y'all feel free to, I'm going to put my email in my description. Feel free that if there are any video clips, any good topics, any snippets, if you have to further content creators where you feel it would be a good opportunity for me to do a reaction off of a video because of the topic and your commentary. I'm open to all of that. So definitely feel free. And I'll go ahead and just put it again, just in case. Go ahead and save it in your, in your emails, contacts. And with that said, again, I thank everybody for being here. I'm grateful and appreciative. Um, if you haven't tapped the like button, please do so on your way out. Feel free to drop a comment because I think this would be a really good video based off of the comments that I saw throughout the live in the chat. This would generate great conversation up underneath the video. So it doesn't have to be right now, but if you think about it at some point, even for the people in the bushes, I would love for you to chime in. I do respond to my comments, even if it's just a heart, I read them, right? Thank you everybody for being here. Like I've said a couple of times, I appreciate my moderators. Thank you to my chat. Thank you for the wonderful engagement, the great comments. I learn a lot from y'all. I really do. So hopefully it's reciprocal. And yeah, so I just want to let y'all know it doesn't go unnoticed. Again, at once I obtain 500 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway, one for a man and one for a woman. So definitely, if you know somebody that could benefit from any information in this live, if you know some homeowners, if you know anybody that might be going through the situation that needs some type of encouragement or just some idea that they're not going through it alone, and that there could be some possible, suggestions given to help them cope and go through. It seems like even if we're not going through something, we usually know somebody that's directly affected by topics that we talk about. So at least that's my goal, right? When I do bring certain topics to the channel. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody. Peace and blessings to you. And if there's nothing else, let me just do a last cruise over the chat. Hey, Joy. Yes, you will catch. Thank you so much for catching the replay and hitting the like button. It's so good to see you. Yes, Lions Den, I saw you in the chat. So if I missed you, I apologize. Eric McDonald, thank everybody for being here, right? Peace and blessings to everybody, and I will see y'all on the next live. Hold on a second. Look, I tried to be smooth with it.